In this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on my boat. It's a 2015 Tracker Pro Team 175 TXW. I bought it last year. I've got one season under my belt. Give you my likes, dislikes, and any other little things that I've done to it and things that I've got planned for it. So let's get underway, shall we? So the boat's equipped with the 60 horsepower Merc. I currently have the stock prop on this motor. The boat is rated for 30 miles per hour with this motor. With a little bit of trim, you can get up to 32, which I have. I've got some pretty good suggestions from people after I posed the question about the motor. I tossed around the idea of going up to the max rated power on this boat, which was a 75, and whether it was worth it, the price point difference. People had suggested about changing props and going to a 4-blade prop. Two names that came suggested were the Mercury Spitfire and the Quicksilver Nemesis. People were pulling numbers in around a 35, 36 miles per hour range, and some even higher. And that's just from trimming the motor up a little bit higher. I think I wasn't trimming the motor up high enough last year, and that might have been a bit of a problem to achieve some of the speeds I wanted to. 1-2 people on this boat, it flies around no problem. It actually goes pretty quick. Once you add a third person to the boat, it seems to bog down a little bit, and getting it up on plane seems to be a bit of a chore. But otherwise, I can't complain about the speed and the planing on the boat. But as was suggested to me, with a 4-blade prop, you're gaining a better hole shot and miles per hour. So on a price point, I think that's better to go with, I say, the 4-blade prop. Because, I mean, cost-wise, it's a lot cheaper than getting a 75 horsepower motor. Now, I asked the question because I was curious on the numbers coming out of the 75 horsepower, because I didn't know, and finding some stuff online was getting kind of difficult. People on average were pulling 40 miles per hour from the 75 horsepower motor and higher, up to about 45. And that's, I'm sure they've changed the props on there too, and they were getting some pretty good numbers on the 75, but some of the people just said, you know what, stick with what you got. It's probably a good option. Just change out the prop and trim up higher. So that's what I'm going to do. Other things I like with the 2015 model, I'm sitting right on it, and this is the rod storage unit. You can see, got a lot of nice size rods in here. Let me take you over here, have a look. It's rated for up to an 8.5-foot rod, and I've already got a couple of my big game rods right down the center there. And yeah, it's probably one of my favorite features with this boat, and it is lockable. Same with this other storage compartment up here, lockable. Again, you can put a lot of stuff in here. Organize all your stuff, lock her up, and away you go. The boat also came standard with front and rear seats as well. Currently I got the pedestal off of the regular seat. The seat is actually pretty comfortable, but my biggest problem with the seat is I found it got in my way. So I was looking at other options that I could have to kind of take a load off when I'm out for, long periods of time. So I ended up switching to a butt seat with the pedal, Bass Pro Shop. Bought it at Cabela's, but it's a Bass Pro Shop setup. And this is actually a very, very nice option. Fits in the standard hold as it's already here, screw it in. It's just that easy, man. But I find that when you're out for a long period of time, having that seat there is a really, really nice option. But I still found that even with that, I was having issues. With this original seat, as you can see, it's a lot bigger. Got in my way, almost put me in the water a couple of times. Hit the edge of the seat, almost threw me overboard when I was going to release a fish. So yeah, I could have ended up with a nice little swim there. So that after a couple of times of having that experience, I decided, no, it's got to go. So that's what brought me to the butt seat. I like it, but still, I find that it's getting in my way. Because, let's be honest, I'll be honest with you, I'm a caster. And I just love the space that this deck has for casting. If you're out for a long day, having the butt seat's nice, but I also like being able to move around on the front deck and do the things I gotta do. So I think you're gonna see me a lot of times without a seat, just because I think that having the space is a lot more convenient. This may seem like a small, insignificant thing, but this switch right here, this switch here raises the rear motor. I got myself into a couple of times where I was in some pretty shallow water that I came up pretty quick on. Need to get that motor up, got on that button. Great little feature, and I think every boat should have it. Here's another little thing that I had an issue with at the start was these little screws that go in around the windshield were starting to pop through. So what I did was I took the screws out, painted the heads black, and then put like a hard rubber washer underneath it. Takes up a little bit more space and keeps it all nice and tight. After some of the poundings that it took, it definitely held up much better than the way it was set up before. The Humminbird Helix 7 is obviously not the standard unit that came with this boat. The Lawrence is still in behind this. The previous owner installed this. I like this unit. It's pretty good. But I don't have one on the front end. And quite honestly, it drives me crazy not being able to actually see what's going on under the water. So I'll probably end up buying another one for the front as well, or moving this to the front. I haven't decided yet, but having that at the front is definitely going to be helpful. Right now it currently has a ram mount on it, so it's kind of nice because I can move it around. I can even spin this around too, which is kind of nice, and I was doing that last year so I could actually see what was going on in front of the boat. I mean, if you're looking for a good universal mount, I think this is a great mount for any fish finder. You can move that any position, spin it around too, which I was doing. Worked out pretty good. I do like that. All right, let's talk about the trolling motor, because this seems to be a very hot topic with this boat. This one comes with the Minn Kota Edge 45. It's standard with this boat. I gotta be honest with you, it's not a bad motor. It does what it needs to do, but add some wind into the picture. And even on the highest setting, I find that this motor does struggle. But I mean, overall, to get started with it, I think it's good. But if you're doing any tournaments or stuff like that, you could be hampered by how this motor functions, especially in the wind. So I'm going to definitely upgrade this. It's something that's in the books to do. So to make that all work, I'm going to have to get another battery and go from there. I won't totally trash on it, but that is something that I think you would definitely want to upgrade where it comes to trolling motors. Another thing I do like about this boat is the trailer that comes with it. It's got this wonderful swing tongue on it. Pull the pin, slide it in. Gotta love it. It's definitely here in the storage unit. It's worked out quite well for me because needed that extra little bit of room. Also, what I like about this trailer are these side bumpers right here. When you go loading this boat, it definitely makes for a lot easier time getting it on the trailer. I got into some pretty rough water at the boat launches, And quite honestly, I was kind of scared that it wasn't going to work out loading it and I was going to damage the boat in the high winds. I find once you get that boat lined up just perfect and you put it on that trailer, it pretty much self-centers itself. And that is, especially for myself, awesome, because a lot of times I am by myself. So loading this boat on the trailer is a lot easier. Here's also one other thing that I've added to the trailer and boat is the transom tie downs. I think the brand name is Reese. Bought them on Amazon, and they seem to do quite well with holding things in place. There's a bracket in behind here that I bought separate because I didn't have the proper setup to mount it right directly to the trailer. I might get that bracket welded on because I find that there was a little bit of movement with it, but otherwise these transom tie downs are also a pretty good option from your standard snap down transom tie downs. The boat also comes with 2 live wells. As you can see, here's one there and one here on the front under these seats here. Both work fantastic. Got a whole live well full of fish. A lot of fish. If it's a fishing boat that you're looking for, this definitely fits the bill. There's a lot of other boats out there you can buy that would definitely do the job. I like the style, the design. It looks great out on the water. I've got lots of compliments on it. Lots of people come up and talk to me about it. And I think that's important. It's what makes you feel good. It does what it needs to do. It handles extremely well in the water. Even in the rough water, it did pretty good. I can't say that I don't recommend taking it out into big water. It will do the job, but you do get pounded pretty good in this boat and take on some water as well. I do welcome opinions on the boat as well. Like I said, these were just my thoughts about this boat and you know, what I've done to it. I'd like to hear what people have done to their boats, any options, any recommendations you have for me for this boat, whether you like it, hate your boat, you know, things like that. I always welcome the comments. It's fun to talk to other people and, you know, hear what they have to say. But I'm going to close out here with some videos of some of the fish I've caught on this boat. And hopefully you found this useful. Take care and tight lines, everyone. Cheers.